Story Murder in the Clouds, Chapter 1, The Flight of Dreams. The sun shone brightly as Eleanor Winters stood on the sprawling tarmac with other eager passengers waiting to board the majestic Aetheris One. This marvel of engineering was not merely an airship, it was a testament to human ingenuity, ready to reimagine the skies. The airship soared into the cobalt blue, carrying with it aspirations of a new era in air travel. Journalists, tech enthusiasts, and curious elites filled its luxurious decks, including Eleanor, whose assignment was to capture the spirit of this groundbreaking flight. As the Aetheris One glided above the glittering Atlantic Ocean, the passengers were treated to an opulent dinner in the grand dining hall. Silver cutlery clinked against fine china, and laughter mingled with the soft strains of a live orchestra. Eleanor soaked in the ambiance, her pen capturing snippets of conversation and glimpses of excitement. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the serene air was shattered by shrill alarms. Panic swept through the room like a gust of wind as passengers bolted upright, their faces masks of confusion and fear. Eleanor's journalistic instincts kicked in, focusing her amid the chaos. She noticed the crew rushing towards the cockpit, only to return with grim faces. The airship's navigational systems had malfunctioned, leaving them adrift. And worse, the captain and co-pilot were discovered dead in the locked cockpit, sparking whispers of foul play. The luxury airship had become a crime scene, and Eleanor found herself thrust into a mystery cruising at thousands of feet. Detective Jason Hartley, off duty from Scotland Yard but present as a passenger, stepped up to take control of the situation. He quickly recognized Eleanor's observational prowess and enlisted her to aid in unraveling the circumstances. A seasoned investigator, Hartley saw potential in Eleanor's keen eye and her ability to connect with people. Together, they faced a whodunit that threatened not only their lives, but the future of air travel. Chapter 2: Locked Doors, Open Suspicions. With limited time and resources, Eleanor and Detective Hartley began piecing together the circumstances surrounding the deaths in the cockpit. They opted to start with interviewing the passengers, each one a puzzle piece in a jigsaw of motives and alibis, some fitting together with startling neatness, others jagged and ill-defined. Richard Ellison, the brain behind the Aetheris One and its enigmatic inventor, was their first interviewee. He maintained a veneer of calm, yet Eleanor noticed a clouded edge to his gaze whenever the conversation skirted too close to the airship's proprietary technologies. He danced around the notion of sabotage, yet his demeanor suggested he held secrets like cards to his chest. The lounge turned into a makeshift interrogation room, with Eleanor and Hartley working discreetly, coaxing the stories of those on board. Among the crowd was Dr. Sofia Alvarez, reluctantly persuaded to inspect the airship's systems. Her findings were alarming, signs of deliberate tampering with the navigation module. Her reluctance hinted at a deeper worry, possibly of what such a disclosure meant for the company's future stock. Story. Then there was Gregory Mallory, an ex-pilot whose past dealings added another layer of intrigue. As he worked tirelessly to maintain control of the cursed ship, suspicions grew around his past affiliations. Was his previous connection to the world of aviation and knowing the inner workings of airships happenstance? Or did he fit somewhere in this web of deception? As Eleanor sifted through snippets of conversations, diary-like entries in her notebook grew more ominous. A cryptic note slid under her door caught her attention one evening. It read, "The clouds hold secrets." Wires in the cockpit were intentionally crossed, leading to one conclusion: the deaths were no accident, and the turbulence they experienced was human-manufactured. The locked doors of the cockpit might have silenced the immediate truths, but aboard the Aetheris One, secrets lay open, whispered into eager ears by those who might wish to remain in the shadows. Chapter 3: Cracking the Facade. The passengers were becoming restless as systems continued to falter. Tension wrapped itself around the airship like a suffocating fog. Eleanor and Hartley, now a team, delved deeper into passenger secrets, unearthing loyalties and alliances that added shape to the cloudy motives. Vanessa Marlowe, a poised woman with a storybook past, revealed under Eleanor's gentle probing a connection with the co-pilot. Her story of a past dalliance turned sour added complexity to the mix. Vanessa's steely exterior, cracked enough to show vulnerability, painting her not as a betrayer, but a woman running from the shadows of her choices. Kieran O'Connell, a passenger with the charm of an enigmatic stranger, exuded a carefree charisma that seemed to cover deeper intentions. His dismissive nature contrasted sharply with the tensions surrounding him, suggesting an association with secrets he'd rather not unveil. Eleanor's intuition flagged him as someone of interest, a man whose ease was a practiced skill rather than natural demeanor. Dr. Alvarez, piecing together signs of further sabotage across the vessel's systems, forced Eleanor and Hartley to reevaluate their theories. The escalating pattern pointed not to a lone act of chaos, but a concerted effort to derail the airship's journey, possibly orchestrated by multiple players, intertwined by desperation and greed. Amid the electronic malfunctions and flickering lights, Eleanor's resolve hardened. She shifted her focus from obvious suspects to the subtler chords of deceit linking them. Dots began to connect, a malfunctioning system here, a conveniently forgotten memory there, all hinting at an elaborate scheme that cut through the glitz and luxury of Aetheris One like a needle through silk. As they inched closer to the core of the deceit, Eleanor and Hartley found themselves navigating not only failing machinery, but the treacherous waters of human conflict and ambition. They realized they were up against adversaries who would stop at nothing to keep the skies grounded in fear. Chapter 4: The Puppeteer Unveiled Story. In a tense gathering of key suspects, Eleanor and Hartley laid out the startling connections their investigation had uncovered. Pieces of the puzzle began to slot into place, revealing a network far greater than personal vendettas. A failed murder attempt on the airship brought alliances into stark focus, lifting veils of secrecy. Hidden affiliations with powerful airline executives, threatened by Aetheris One's innovation, emerged as the true orchestrators behind the deadly sabotage. These industry titans, fearing the loss of market dominance, conspired to terminate not only the flight but its revolutionary potential. The key conspirator, a compromised engineer working within Aetheris One, acted as a linchpin between the syndicate of external saboteurs and the technicians aboard. Eleanor and Hartley, through methodical investigation, assembled evidence that exposed the roots of the conspiracy, revealing how greed twisted ambition into a tool for destruction. The stakes were high. The revelation of such subterfuge not only threatened the passengers' lives, but the future of aviation. As the moments of truth spiraled towards them, Eleanor and Hartley braced for the final test of cunning and truth. Chapter 5: Triggering the Descent. With the saboteur identified, desperation radiated through the remaining conspirators, prompting one last reckless act of sabotage. Aetheris One's systems were tampered with yet again, sending the airship into erratic dives and swerves. Panic reigned among passengers as the storm of uncertainty raged outside and within. Eleanor's mind raced to connect every clue, every motive, to prevent a tragic downfall. Gregory Mallory, steadied by Alvarez's technical acumen and driven by an ex-pilot's instincts, embarked on a bold maneuver, a gritty nod to old-fashioned piloting to regain what little control was left. The atmosphere was tense, charged with the dual turbulence of a mechanical battle outside and a figurative clash of wits and wills inside. Eleanor and Hartley confronted their adversaries head-on, urging unity among the passengers to overcome fear and hostility. In those final tumultuous moments, they braved the tangible storm and the ephemeral challenge of trust and betrayal. The threat of chaos transformed into a clarion call for resilience and human ingenuity. Chapter 6: Touching Ground. As the coastline of Ireland loomed below, a daring last maneuver brought the Aetheris One safely down. Despite the heart-stopping sequence, the airship brushed the harbor with minimal harm, thanks to teamwork that had grown through crisis and necessity. Relief was palpable, though it overshadowed the physical wreckage and psychological toll of their ordeal. Passengers stumbled from the airship's embrace, grateful to tread the earth once more. Richard Ellison, eyes alight with a complex blend of relief and gratitude, revealed himself in a new light, more than an inventor, a man humbled by near disaster. Story. They had touched the ground, a collective journey's end, but a narrative still unfolding. Eleanor watched as people bonded in the aftermath, their initial wariness dispelled by mutual survival. Chapter 7: Exposing the Puppeteers. Amidst the officials arriving to investigate, Eleanor's thorough account took form, piecing together the conspiracy's sinister breadth. Previously reluctant allies now stood united as truths met justice. The story, once curbed by luxury and ambition, showcased the will to preserve hope transcending corporate greed. The perpetrators, cornered by documentation and eyewitness testimony, crumbled under the weight of truth. Industry controversies unfolded, revealing the darker sidelining innovation had suffered, a catalyst for change within an industry often perched upon the precipice of progress. Eleanor realized that she had not just survived the journey, but had become a pivotal part of a narrative that might reshape the aviation industry. Her story spoke of resilience in the face of fear and the triumph of truth over manipulation. It was a testament to those who had stood against the tide of deceit and emerged stronger. Chapter 8: Flight of Innovation. With her article published, Eleanor Winters showcased a tale of courage amidst betrayal to the world. The Aetheris One, once marred by scandal, was now celebrated as a symbol of resilience and progress, a testament to human ingenuity in the face of daunting adversity. As passengers, now bonded through shared survival, disembarked, they carried with them a richer understanding of trust and human connection. The journey had forged unlikely friendships, and those who once traveled alone were now walking onto the future with a renewed sense of unity. Eleanor boarded a plane back home, her heart and mind full of newfound convictions. She reflected on the moments when shadows danced upon their path and how light had found its way through. The world had been given a story meant to evoke change, a narrative promising strides beyond the clouds. As the plane's engines roared to life, Eleanor looked out into the open skies, envisioning a future where dreams soared unbounded and truth always navigated the darkness. She felt the weight of the story she had uncovered, one that dared to inspire a world to dream beyond limitations, to look up into the vastness of the skies without hope. With trust, tenacity, and the shared will to overcome, innovation could once more take flight, beyond fear, beyond the breach of trust that had momentarily stolen its wings. Eleanor understood that the real triumph lay not just in solving the mystery, but in rekindling the world's belief in a brighter future above the clouds.